as the lower castes, the backward castes, are becoming powerful in terms of their political positions, democracy is being eroded and everything's owned by the corporates, So that's what's interesting about what's going on. So every mountain, every river, every forest, every dam, every water supply system, every telephone network, everything is owned by the corporates. And I mean, this is true in India, but it's also true everywhere, that with the collapse of the environment, with the reducing of the groundwater levels, you increasingly have battles which on the surface seem to be battles of identity. Dalit Christian versus Adivasi, or Yadavs versus somebody. But, or you look at the case of a place like Sudan. Often what appears to be battles of identity are actually battles of desertification, of a fight over resources, of a shrinking ability to survive. And how are we going to read these things in the future? I think that to me is the crucial civilizational question. Because the battles of identity and struggle have been there historically. But what is happening there in the forests of central India? That battle for the new imagination, for a new modernity, for a new understanding of how we look at the planet and what we consider civilization and progress. Those questions are being asked in that forest. And those questions have been asked philosophically in universities and classrooms before, yes. But today, people are putting their bodies on the line to ask those very profound questions, And my question is that you have, let's say, the forest called the Dandakaranya forest, where the party that calls itself Maoist consists 99.9% of actually Adivasi, tribal guerrilla fighters, with a completely different understanding of what constitutes happiness, of what constitutes civilization. They are being annihilated. They have been surrounded. They are being cut off from their resources. They can't come out of the forest. They are dying of malnutrition, all of that, but they are fighting back. And they are fighting a war of the imagination. They are saying that to a corporate, the bauxite in the mountain is just a cheap storage facility for the bauxite. They want that bauxite out. They've already sold it on the futures market. They don't care what happens. But to that army right now, not as a Maoist army, but as an Adivasi army, that bauxite is the keystone to the ecology. A bauxite mountain is a porous mountain that retains water, that irrigates the plains, that sustains populations of hundreds of thousands. To them, the bauxite outside the mountain is worthless. They're not asking to fly around in jet aircraft or make missiles or bombs or anything, They don't need it. So, can we, as a civilization, allow a non-capitalist society with a possibility of sustainable living, live and survive or not? That, I think, is the question, because you need a new imagination. We know that you need a new imagination, neither communist nor capitalist. And maybe the people who we think of as relics of the past are actually the gatekeepers of the future. And if they are to survive, they need a physical space to survive, not I'm not talking about Native American reservoirs, real physical space to survive. Can we leave the bauxite in the mountain or not? Because if we can't, then I don't think we should be preaching morality to the victims of this war and telling them whether they should be violent or non-violent or whatever it is,